Uh, Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you, everyone, for taking the time traveling from all parts of Indonesia to attend our launching event of CATUR Collection 22-23. Some people may not know me yet. I'm Kenny. I'm in charging of CATUR operation and, of course, the finance side, the money. Okay, today I do not have any slides to present, but I have three groups of people to thank. First of all, I want to thank all the coffee processor. It has been a tough and challenging this year. So we would like to thank all of you for taking the hard work, spending the time to process all the coffee, and of course keeping the coffee quality consistent. Second, we want to thank all the people here, sitting here, for the support and encouragement. Without you guys, we will not be as where we are today. So thank you so much. Third, I want to thank all the wonderful teammates behind CATUR Coffee Company for their hard work and determination and commitment. Without them, we wouldn't have made it so far today. So thank you so much. I'm very proud of you. And I hope everyone, you can enjoy the event today and enjoy the coffee tasting. Thank you. I'll pass the mic to Mickey. He has a lot of slides to present.
Thank you, Kenny. That's the longest I've heard you speak in the public setting. Hello, everybody. My role here today is basically just to recap, really, our year. The beefier of the presentation and the more important aspects will be handed over by our hardworking team who's actually done a lot of work this year behind the scenes to make sure that we have coffees to present, and also what we've done in terms of accountability and transparency and sustainability efforts. So to recap, in 2021, our biggest volume came from Karana Global. From Bali, we had 27 metric tons out of the 54-ish metric tons that we produced in 2021. The fastest selling tasting profile, as you can probably guess, is Kamala. So if you're not familiar with Kamala yet, Kamala is our anaerobic natural processed coffee, fruitier, boozier, big, loud flavors, commonly used in barista competitions, and because of that, it's one of the most popular taste profiles. It's sold within the first 3 months of our launch. So we launched in December. By March, 97.5% of that was sold globally. Oh, not yet. The fastest selling processor was Tuang Coffee. 95% of Tuang Coffee was sold within the first couple of months of it being launch. So we debuted the coffee in WBC Milan, and after that it just sort of took off in not just our coffee from Tuang Coffee, but also Tuang Coffee from Tuang Coffee. You can find them all over the world, in Europe and in North America and Australia, all over. So in 2021, we had 6 partner processors. In Sumatra, we had 2. We have Central Sumatra Coffee and Gayobes. We have 1 in Java, Bright Java, 1 in Bali, Karana, 1 in Flores Manggarai, Tuang, and 1 in Sulotko, Kofrise. In 2022, we had 67% growth in terms of partner processors numbers. We went from 6 to 10. We had CSC, Gayobes, Lisalio Organic, aka Back Bay Estate, Java Halu Coffee in West Java, Sunny Coffee also in West Java in Loa. Again, we have Bright Java, Karana, and Tuang Coffee, and we added 1 partner in Sulawesi from Sulotko. We also tried to see if our methods, our inoculants, and our way of processing coffee could work anywhere else in the world. So we went to 3 different parts of the world. The further west is in Panama. We went to Chiriquí. In Jansen Estate, we processed a few different geishas with 4 different inoculants, and they scored well. We also work with Datera in Patrocínio in Brazil, working with a very interesting hybrid of coffee called Aramosa, which is a very climate-resistant coffee. And we tried our inoculant and also our processing in Datera. We also went to Itogon in the Philippines to see if our processing works in other Southeast Asian country. So we had 3. The volume is very little, it's experimental volume, but we had some great results. Cool. So in 2021, we have 50.5 metric tons of coffee produced. We had partner distributors all over the world. In North America, we have Forward Coffee, a great friend of ours. Cold Road, who's the previous barista champion of Canada, has an importing company. So he handles our North America distribution. In Europe, we have CATUR Europe, head by Dejan Borisavljevic. And also in Australia, we have FTA Coffee based in Melbourne to cater for Asia Pacific and Oceania as well. In 2021, we had 50.5 metric tons of coffee, and we grew that by 60% to 84.7 metric tons of coffee. Even after all the challenges of not having enough cherries, cherry prices going crazy, we still managed to grow our numbers by 60%. Now, this is the biggest conversation starter among coffee processors in Indonesia and coffee stakeholders in Indonesia in 2021. We had a massive increase of cherry price year on year. This is our average buying price nationwide. So it's not really in one specific area, but we took a national average. In 2020, our average cherry price was 8,000 a kilo. In 2021, 10,250 a kilo. And in 2022, 13,000 a kilo. But the numbers vary from anywhere 6,000 all the way to 17,000 in some areas, a kilo of cherry. So massive increase, but we somehow made it work. Kenny did his magic. So other than the coffee cherry prices, other challenges that we face this year are mainly related to climate. So very sporadic rainfall. We had early rainy seasons, and because of that, we have very limited drying space. And also, in some areas, we have difficulties trying to access clean water for processing and also washing of our coffee. How is this impacting our production? Well, from the flowering and the maturation of the cherry, it was pretty difficult, and that leads to uneven green bean quality. And also, some cherry, because we have to move the drying area, some cherry got fermented on the way to the drying station. So we typically do the fermentation at the processing center and would normally dry it at the same venue. But this year, we have to shift things around a little bit, and we had to deal with some uncontrolled fermentation or unwanted fermentation. So how did we mitigate this? We obviously plan to do better in terms of drying space, trying to find access and invest in equipments that can help us gain access to better water quality and also drying facility. Now, as a company, we traveled a lot. We traveled to produce our coffee in 14 different regions of Indonesia, and we also traveled to try and market and sell our coffee. As a company, we traveled for 134,237 kilometers just to produce the coffee. That's mainly the domestic travel, but also our travel to Panama and Brazil. So that's about 4 times the circumference of Earth. So we traveled 4 times of Earth just to produce our coffee. But then we traveled even further. We traveled 8 times the circumference of Earth to market and sell our coffee. This is mainly in Europe. We also traveled in North America extensively to try and market our coffee. So all this travel, we realized that it's doing something to the environment. Obviously, we have a really big carbon footprint. Just on travel alone, we had 160 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent in terms of the travel for marketing and also for production. And we started thinking, with this kind of carbon footprint, are we actually helping the coffee industry, or are we doing something bad to the industry? So we begin by measuring this and also trying to somehow remove this from earth, or if we can somehow sequester it inside our soil. So after calculation, we found that we emit 563 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. And since September this year, we have successfully removed 328 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. And we average at about 82 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent a month. So from September onwards, we can call ourselves, we became a carbon neutral company, but we still have a little bit to catch up, and we should be able to catch up to that carbon emission by Q1 of next year and become truly carbon neutral by definition. So just to put things into context, 328 tons of carbon dioxide equivalents is about 738,597 miles driven on a normal gasoline car. It's the equivalent of charging 36 million and a bit more of smartphones. And then also that can be sequestered by planting 4,920 trees for 10 years. So it's a bit big, but we're doing our efforts, and Naomi later will break down into details how we plan to achieve these numbers. So, to quote the great and powerful Taylor Swift, "Hey, it's me, I'm the problem, it's me." I traveled the earth, or traveled around 204,347 kilometers this year. And that's just my CATUR travel. That's not calculating So Good Coffee Company. That's not calculating the travel that I did for the other brands that I represent. I spent 95 days away from home, trying to process coffee and also trying to market our coffee. But we have also Abe. Abe travels 158 days away from his mom this year. So, sorry, mom. But Abe, she's probably happy. But Abe only traveled mainly in Indonesia. So in terms of kilometers, he didn't travel as far, but he did travel the longest. And then also in terms of kilometer per days traveled, Lonika, she represented Indonesia in the World Cup Tasters Championship. Lonika went to Milan for 9 days, and she averaged at 4,811 kilometers per day of her travel. So pretty big. And then also we have Kenny. Kenny is sort of right in the middle there, just under 150,000 kilometers traveled for about 55 days of travel for CATUR Coffee Company. Not enough, yes. All right, so moving forward, what's our plan? Today we talk about CATUR Collection, but we also have a lesser known collection called the CATUR Blend. CATUR Blend is our commercial line. So we plan to increase our footprint in terms of commercial coffee, but process and done the same way and with the same commitment to our CATUR Collection. We also have Berlian Biotech. So Berlian Biotech is very interesting. This is our own company, our own lab based in Kota Baru, Parahyangan in West Java. And this is where we produce all of our inoculants, do our research on microbes and coffee-specific bacteria and yeast that we use for our coffee, but also hopefully it's going to be available for public very soon as well. We're also going to grow our CATUR Reserva worldwide, doing more projects and research in countries like Panama, Colombia, Brazil, and the Philippines as well. So, to dig deeper into our transparency and sustainability efforts, I'm going to pass the microphone to Naomi, who will talk about our sustainable practices. Thank you.